To actually explore today human design, but as always, I am Tonya D. And if you haven't joined my Musing Corridor, I have a venue for healers or healing. And please do. There's lots of curiosity about what's going on, about getting the jab or the poke, to get it or not to get it, if you've already have gotten it, and so much more. So I just want to give you a little perspective there today. So for me, it's a no on my agenda. And I'm not one to subscribe to the laws of man or woman for that matter. My intuitive self, along with my higher self, my guardians, and my gatekeepers, and more, I should say, gave me insight over the period where I go back into the other realms. So I go back every year into another world or dimensions. I start about the 15th of December and I totally land by the 17th. And I really don't return into this dimension fully until the 21st of January, give or take a few days. So time is fluid, or it feels more like space. And the outer frontier and the new pioneer, really, it's a pioneering. So for those of you that have taken the jab, I will say blessings to you. Might be part of your soul commitment or your soul contract, what you came into this realm of Earth School to actually do. So for that, again, blessings to you. If you would like to join me live for my Blockbuster live show, please be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. I'm super excited about that. Take the survey in my corridor, and I will actually see you on the other side. But the show today is going to be pretty long. I want to explore the gates of the lunar moon for the entire week. So I'll be exploring these gates on Friday or Saturday, hopefully in the future, just to give you a heads up for that. So human design, it incorporates the energetic centers, the I Ching, Chinese, astrology, and so much more. I tried to kind of share, but I'm not that techie as of yet, but I'll hopefully soon figure that out. So I like to be a bit different and give insights on Wednesdays instead. So here we go. So today is Wednesday, April 7th, 2021. And we start in the morning with gate 49 and line 4. So when I say the morning, that is like first thing in the morning, right after midnight. So early AM, we are actually in gate 49. It's a revolutionary gate. It's the principles and the rebel. So emotions feel abolish of the old. So it's like coming out of the dark ages. It's Aquarian in the interest of supporting what's new. And it's aligned with certain principles. It's actually part of channel 9. It's the center of our emotions and the circuitry. So when the gates connect, they create a circuit. So it's the circuit of tribal along with community. So tribal to me feels ancestral or in our lineage or culture-ish. And community is where healing actually happens. So it's a very Aquarian energy, which at the moment, Saturn and Jupiter are in Aquarius. So I would say, stay curious with that. But let's kind of talk about the emotions, the center of emotions for a moment. So emotions are obviously an important field of our human experience. What we feel immediately, right? We know the difference between joy and sadness. And we also know that hate isn't the same as anger, and happiness isn't the same as pleasure. So if we were to dive in deeper, emotion has an entirely different language. In order to describe our various emotional flavors or characters, when we feel an emotion, we generally go running the other way. Instead of floating into the feeling, the awareness of that emotion. So it's both an awareness center and actually a motor center. It's our gut brain, the brain in our bellies. So digestion is actually a huge part. So it's the digestion of those emotions. I really can't eat if I am emotionally upset. And I'm sure most of you can't or shouldn't either. So this center is connected with both eating and with digestion. So eating should be for pleasure, and digestion is the foundation of our intelligence. But back to gate 49, it's like any revolution, actually. It's Aquarius, it's innovation, it's otherworldly, and it brings a wave of change at the right time, and it brings lasting and merit that's more practical in the change. But if you get that gut sense of a no or a reaction, so emotions, that's what it does. It evolves into a revolution, which then evolves to the rebel. So those are both Aquarius energies. And it's curious too, because we aren't in the sun sign of Aquarius, so it makes it kind of fun, but more into the moon sign of Aquarius. So I hope that makes sense. And we are in the moon sign of Aquarius. So we have an early morning of being, or it's a reaction. We're either rejecting or we are reactive. So we have a revolution, and then we also have this unfolding. And at line 4, we have an accumulation of energy and motivation for these radical changes, aligning with our inner truths. So then we go to line 5. Now, I'm in mountain time in Salt Lake City, so you might need to adjust to your time zone. But line 5 and gate 49 is tuning into those inner feelings for the rightness of change and aligning with everyone in ways that make it easier to transition through the upheavals of emotions. And then we end gate 49 with literally being content. It's changes, it's growth, it's adjusting to new circumstances. Just appreciating our inner self. What that does is it supports our other self, our higher self, to drop the old and literally grow like a plant with the seed and grow with the noon. Morning coffee or tea time, that's when this all happens. And then we move to gate 30 around 4 a.m. So, this is the gate of the clinging fire. It's our desires. So again, we're fully experiencing our feelings, coming to sense the elusive part of what those desires are. We're still in an emotional center, but the circuit is the collective sensing. So we have an Aquarius and a Pisces feeling to the morning. So we have desire, and there are 2 ways of experiencing the fires of desire. We have cleansing or we have burning for a sacrifice. So we have first is the line 1. It's clarifying, it's finding our inner balance whenever our feelings are getting stirred in that cosmic soup. And then we move to line 2, and that's finding the golden mean. It's moderating between extreme feelings and getting in touch with our feelings, really. And line 3, and mind you, we're coursing this through the day, it's where we are keeping our cool. And this is actually when Pluto kicks in, because Pluto's the sign of transformation. It's a death and a rebirth at higher cosmic levels. So I'm thinking of my higher self, my cosmic soul, my Sira, keeping my cool, going beyond desires by literally going through them. So those are like scalar waves and feeling into those emotional frequencies. Line 4 is kind of a pacing line. So this, we might have a meltdown and moving on. So that's where that would happen, because it's transitioning. It's like putting on a belt and tying it, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So line 5, later in the day. So have you ever noticed that when you acknowledge that embracing adversity actually brings or enriches your life? So it's perspective. So it's, again, it's what we resist persists, but when you just go, ease up on the resistance and go with the flow. So that's line 5 at gate 30. Line 6 is where we become purified. It's the fire. It's how fire purifies through the cleansing process. And then self-acceptance, accepting self, along with clarity, releases emotional expectation. So in the Dagara cosmology, this makes me feel like the element of water, which we're in a water year in the cosmology of the Dagara. So later in the day, around 3:30, we move to gate 55, and it's still an emotional center. And remember, I'm talking about the moon. And the moon is also in Pisces as well. So it's abundance through our spirit. So we have the ability to access abundance through spirit. So it's the abundance of all manners of expression. So I think we always get stuck in the material abundance, like the physical abundance of, money, basically, right? Work, whatever that looks like. So there are a variety of forms of abundance, right? So we have the channel of emoting with gate 39, and we're still in the center of emotions. And it moves into the circuitry when the gates connect of individual knowingness. Still feels Piscean to me. Dramatic waves of spiritual emotions that move through without any rhyme or reasons. Maybe you get an emotional trigger to creativity. It involves knowing both melancholy and also bliss. Victimization. So, are you going to be victimized or complaining? Ultimately, this leads to freedom and even more freedom. So, it's like loving yourself and loving yourself some more, but it's freedom and then more freedom to express emotionally the freedoms. That's what's going on in this particular gate. But line 1, remember, it's a hexagram. So when I say the lines, I'm talking about the hexagram and how it moves up. Again, I tried to put up my human design so I could show you the transits, but it was it was kind of difficult. So line 1 in this particular gate is connecting to others that are on a similar wavelength. So it's like-mindedness, or just seeking company for, social reasons, which just relating and being open, being available for a like-minded choreography, a choreography. It's like a play. Line 2 in the hexagram, it's holding us or holding our own when we're surrounded by skepticism. So, kind of standing outside the movie. Line 3, which I'm loving, is eclipsing. And it sounds really super fun and even exciting. So it's being your best in different or challenging circumstances, adversity, finding your patience, your inner strength of spirit. Again, it's Piscean energy, and it's brightening. So eclipsing is brightening. So look forward to that as the day moves forward. Line 4 in the hexagram is our inner wisdom, and it shines out for other people. So we're igniting our own inner light in a difficult time. It's kind of like a wise sage of existence, I would say. Line 5 in the hexagram, it's being clear in or with our companions or our company that we surround ourselves with. It's kind of a counseling energy. Where line 6, it's being selfless. It's holding open views, allows for an open world. So maybe we open up to a new perspective where you don't want to take yourself too seriously and miss out on all of the environment or life, what it has to offer. And then later we move to gate 37. And mind you, I'm going to go through the whole week. So that's why this is going to get pretty long. So I'll finish up with next Tuesday. So tomorrow, April 8th, Thursday, we're still in this Piscean energy. It's the same center. We have the tribal and we have the community. It moves more to family and friendship and clearing out our interrelationships. Again, still feels Piscean because those choreography, those relationships are the foundation of our well-being of every body energetically. It's like the body is matter. Whether it's spiritual, community of our families, whatever level that is. So it's spiritual Pisces energy, if that makes sense. So this is early in the morning on the 8th. So family, and it doesn't have to be blood related or not, dreams of otherworldly beings, community, and family are actually the foundation of the entirety of the whole, the galactic frontier. So line 1 in this hexagram, it's where respect and honor, it's the wisdom of our ancestors. It's due to this innately wise, reverence reverence inside of us. So it's kind of great. Hopefully we'll be in the dream state for that. Maybe our ancestors will come through. Line 2 is being self-sufficient. So maybe achievements are getting enhanced through synergy. And when I say synergy, I'm seeing a merge between the outer world and our inner world, the cosmic energies or energy itself, and our physical beingness of a body. Where line 3, it's a steady reserve that will support our community and our well-being. So we heal ourselves actually in ritual, in community, in circle. So we're not standing at a podium, it's in circle. Line 4 is where we become enriching and just supporting our families, whatever that looks like, the prosperities and the moon. It creates this furthering escalade of well-being of our inner world just through contributions really that are clear inside of us. And line 5, so I'm feeling our ancestors are going to come in through our dream state. And mind you, again, I'm talking about the moon. It's like being loyal. So this is family and community. So just being natural and organic, forgiving all those energetic hiccups or transgressions within our family lineage even, or our earth family. So unless you feel that you're being used, that is a wisdom that enables us here. It'll literally come through your feet, through the earth star, and radiate up and through your body and out your crown and out into those transcendent chakras, those energetic centers. Then we move to line 6. We're going to hold into our own personal standards, encouraging other people to actually do the same. So that would be like our own beliefs. Feels like holding a pause and finding our inner peace, actually. Then later we move to gate 63 tomorrow around 1 p.m. That's our crown center. So let's kind of explore the crown for a second. It's inspiration, it's intuition, right? It's the crown. So it's part of channel 4 creates this channel of our logical mind. Feels kind of Spockish in a way, right? So it's the circuit of collective knowledge. So we might have doubts or critical perceptions, and we're constantly refreshing our view in a world where there is always change, transformation and change. So have you ever noticed how people have self-doubt that actually leads to self-criticism? So the gift of critical perception needs to be tempered, also attuned, it's like a tuning fork, with our current environment at the present moment in space and time. So we become fulfilled through just recognizing ultimately that everything is in the right place and it's in the right order. And also that no one likes to be personally criticized, even if you are pressured to comment on their lives. I kind of like honest criticism myself. I think it actually creates growth. So line 1 in this particular gate, it's constantly reviewing our circumstances, our story, and investigating. Line 2, we move to being more reserved within ourselves, just remaining kind of steadfast in our quest of life for actually personal integrity, which that's huge for me. So line 3, it's considering ideals that are high in all of our matters in the earth realm, where it's going to create some revitalization. So we might become energetically inspired. Line 4 is being clear, just being alert for potential disturbances or adversities or challenges that are on our way to actually the corridor of fulfillment. And line 5, it's actually being sincere above showiness. So, that feels ego kind of to me, sincerity and showiness, remaining in our skin. Line 6 in this hexagram is just remaining present and looking forward when completing anything. You might anticipate dragging your mind out of the past situations into the present. It's actually, a lifelong process of just creating awareness. I'm just saying that out loud. So then we move later to gate 22 on Friday. It's back to the center of our emotions. It's a circuit of individual knowingness. It's the channel of being open, or openness, I should say. So with gate 12, which I'm kind of excited because I think it connects with my son on that day. So it's grace, it's adorning, it's favor. So in the world, the emotional energy of grace enriches our lives through the beauty of like adorning something with affection. So it's just a great way to actually start the weekend, is kind of how I'm feeling. But be sure to check out my weekend tarot cards too for insights into the weekend. I'm going to use my angel deck. I always call it my love deck, but it's actually an angel deck. But on a spiritual level, grace is blessings that come through clear emotional alignment with our inner consciousness. So when challenged emotionally, grace can sometimes become disgrace, where we become disgraced. So this gate, and some of these gates actually, they attune with mammals, by the way. So energetically, that makes me feel like nature's going to connect as well. But in this gate, line 1 is being gracious, humility, and appreciation for all aspects of our earth school and life, right? Line 2 is the natural ability to, they use this word adorning. So to me, it's kind of like, how you adorn a baby. So it's kind of charming. Your emotional style will attract others with movement and uplifting in their choreography of life. Where line 3 is enchanting, it's grace, it's perfection, it's a charmed life. So for me, my this gate is going to actually, so it's like the emotions of the moon are going to connect with my light, the sun. So this is like grace and perfection, that charmed life. It's good fortune, so it's feeling kind of yummy to me. Where line 4 is actually empowering all of our interactions by aligning to our own inner requirements, just that you begin kind of impressing. So I guess I would say our light starts shining out. So it feels like, remember Charlotte's Web, where Wilbur becomes radiant? He's the radiant pig. But it took Charlotte, right, to recognize the radiance in Wilbur. Line 5 is our own inner beauty, just remembering how important our true inner nature is inside of us. Line 6 is the line of sophistication, or being sophisticated. So it's simple elegance is actually one of our highest attributes, just having sophistication and elegance. It's our inner brightness. It'll just exude, especially, I would say, through observation. And then around 10 a.m., we move to gate 36. We're still in the emotional center. It's this channel of versatility with gate 35. So it's a circuit of collective sensing. So again, it's intuition or psychic energy. It's Piscean, because that's where Pisces is in our charts. That's where intuition plays out in our senses. It's a crisis resolution. So I would call this the ghost in the darkness, or the darkening of the light. But there's always a potential to feel a sense of crisis before you make a move to experience something for the first time. We know ahead of time. We know 3 seconds before something is going to happen that it's actually going to happen. So just muse about it in the lower forms of vibration and frequency. And so crisis can be really rather debilitating and even discouraging in the lowest forms. But in the highest form, our inner brightness and our outer gratitude literally come together to live through every aspect of our human experience in our choreography of life. So once the experience becomes indulged in our innerness, that's where our feelings flow through a range of emotional highs and lows. So it might feel some turbulence as the day kind of moves forward, but ultimately it's going to end with passion. So we start with line 1 in the hexagram, reflecting inwards when we're challenged by outer worldly circumstances, accepting or ignoring our feelings. and holding true to ourselves and not into the critical or the adversity kind of feels like that. Line 2 on this gate is being constant. It's Neptunian, so being loyal when we're challenged in the company of others. And more importantly, applying our imagination to further ourselves along with others through a crisis or those situations that feel that way. Line 3 is finding the point. So it's like being at a crossroads and finding that point of transition from the darkness into the light. So sounds kind of magical, but it's the breaking point where we're shifting from crisis resolution when you witness emotional habits that actually don't serve you or serve us in general. So it's this transformation process. It's riding the waves of that emotional crisis to find our own interpersonal clarity. Again, the Dagara, because we're in water, clarity, reconciliation. That's what this year is actually all about. Line 4, we're going to survey the feeling just by acting our way, by following our own light through different situations. And transformation is actually possible when we find a way to thrive in these intense experiences and stay true to our light. Then we move into line 6, and we're just committing to persist in what is right. So darkness is an absence of light. So when truth is revealed, all aspects of untruths actually begin to dissipate. So right there is always a spark of light in those darkest shadows. There's always light in the darkest shadows. So then into the evening, we're going to move into gate 25, into Saturday's forecast. It's the center of the self. It's the channel of initiation. It's the circuit of individual centering. It's Pisces and Aries. We're kind of on the cusp there. It's innocence. It's unsuspecting. So, innocence is more of our natural state. It's unattached to consequences. What does that feel like, right? So it's inherent trust and honesty and sincerity. Ultimately, at the end of this gate is universal love. So it's just emanating from an unaffected and more of our free nature. So it takes nothing, for granted, like just being appreciative, really. So that's kind of what that feels like to me as I kind of feel into it. So line 1 at this gate in the hexagram is living and loving without ulterior motives. So it's loving. So it's the oneness field, right? No judgment in the love oneness field. Line 2 is just being present, being centered. So you either will live freely for the moment, or maybe you try anticipating the results and you remain unfulfilled. So just being in the moment, right? Not trying to control it. Don't try to shift a dream vision, I would say, because this again is coursing through the nighttime. We're line 3 in this hexagram. It's adjusting. So when things appear to go wrong, you either accept the results or possibly feel hopeless. We're line 4 in this hexagram. It's which I'm loving this actually, because it's when we start to align with our inner vision, our innocence, in it stands to be more stable. So it can't be tainted. It's being in a state of blamelessness. Where line 5 in this hexagram is healthiness. So there isn't a worldly cure for spiritual sickness in all, the choreography. So the healer who calls on the power of spirit to heal and to be healed, that's what this line is about. So in the Dagara cosmology, we go from healing, and it can be any state. It could be relationships, career, our past lives, the ancestors, and so much more. Then we go into ritual or prescription, and then community, where we gather as a collective and share our insights of our story. So that's kind of how cosmology of a cowrie shell divination goes through. But back to the hexagram, line 6 is misunderstanding. So ultimately, just knowledge is, it rarely serves us, especially when we start or we try to second guess the existence of ourselves. So I think it's going to be kind of a really cool morning. It feels otherworldly again, more of a cosmic otherworldly in the oneness field. Then we move to gate 17, early AM, 8:30 a.m. It's part of channel 62. It's the channel of the organizer. It's our mind center. So our mind can't really share insight without our throat, Vishuddha, just so you know, it has to come out, right? So our third eye needs to share through our throat center. So it's the circuit of collective logic. It's our mind. So following opinions, debates, and discussion. So it's going to feel probably better to temper our opinions to a point where they stand as a base for different concepts. And ideals become aligned with the potential future of well-being for everybody. So just following trains of thought, maybe journal to find a logical balance within, there's a variety of perspectives of what life is or could be or what it is all about. Everybody has a perspective of what happiness is. My happiness is different than your happiness. It comes in through the right eye, just so you know. Line 1 in this gate. So for me, the right eye is more psychic and my left eye is my intuition. So what comes in is different visually. It's always a process, to be honest. But okay, back to the gate. So line 1 is actually being open-minded. Just seeing the duality and recognizing the duality in all things, all objects, all of life. Line 2, we're going to feel like surrounding ourselves with people that actually move us to a higher appreciation of, just being in gratitude of being on the earth plane and just kind of accessing people that we keep company with. That's kind of what we want to surround ourselves with. So this feels like an important line in the hexagram for that day. Line 3 is appreciating the better influencers for our own inner self-growth. So we're going to be more selective in who we gather in our garden, basically. We're being unselfish. Line 4 is we're being open to finding the best to further everybody. Line 5 is just recognizing that we are one. So it's this interconnectedness. So we attain our highest aim by virtue. And, I talk about my virtues all the time. My 3 are peace, joy, and happiness. And I always throw in integrity. It's actually the Virgo side of me. So it's kind of a cosmic coincidence in a way. Or line 6 is being in the Bodhisattva, attuning to higher levels of human consciousness and awareness. So it kind of feels, the finger is pointing at the moon, the emotions, the moon is our emotions. We can access anything and create simplicity in our choreography of our life stories. That's kind of how I started Change Your Stars, is just, honoring your own inner talent, your own inner intuitive gifts to live your life with purpose. So just wanted to throw that in there. But later, we're going to move to gate 21 around 8 p.m. It's the center of our heart. It's actually a channel of money with gate 45. That's how that creates it, which is kind of curious because the heart and money, right? But you have to understand money is really just an exchange of energy. We used to not have money. We used to just trade, like give an apple for an orange, right? But within this gate, when it connects with 45, it creates the circuit again of tribal and entrepreneurial. So this feels like our ancestral lineage is bringing entrepreneurial gifts into the foresight. So it's the control, it's the hunter or the hunted, I guess. So it's our expression of our willpower, employing different strategies to take charge on the material level and the material plane, just by getting to the heart of the matter. So it's when we have willfulness, it's employed with consideration for the common good of everybody, or if the ego is applied towards exclusively personal advantage. So this is when our hunter or the huntress engages, and we create a valor. It feels, I've been watching Artigal, so it kind of feels like one of the Alps to me. Yeah, that's what it feels like. So line 1 in this gate, it's actually just being responsible, correcting your small mistakes. It creates an easier growth in our life story, so the path we take. Line 2 is the courage. It's giving and receiving and correcting anything that to create reform, basically. So a lot of what's happening on the Earth plane right now is actually we are in a ritual. The entire planet is in a ritual. In order to heal, you have to go into the ritual. It's just what it is. So within the reform, just willingness to improve ourselves, honoring our soul story in a way. Line 3 in this gate is being, you might become overwhelmed potentially. Different circumstances, you're going to become aware of them. You might feel some hesitation. You might even get caught up in other people's ego issues. That always affects our level of commitment in our own life when we leave our star story and go into somebody else's soul or their ego. This is Aries, which is the ego, by the way, and where our ego plays out. So we all have Aries in our chart. We have Mars and we have a rising sign, right? So that's what that feels like to me. Line 4 in this hexagram, we're literally going to bite the bullet. We're going to deal with all of these situations in life by using more self or inner control, just biting our tongue too, you could say. So line 5 is using our willpower actively or even by delegating. So this is where we can keep control and direct material matters. It's being gallant. I'm thinking of, Merlin. Can't think of his name. Merlin and Lancelot. That's what that reminds me of. Line 6 in this gate, we're early Sunday morning hour, by the way. Oh, we're at 5 a.m., line 6. So this is all in the night. So if you haven't, again, changed your stars, I talked about what's called the Merlin effect. It's where we can go into our future self and see our story and then go back in time and be in our story now. But just by adding, delicate touches, like a painter, bringing adjustments to any situation where we add color to things and amend those colors, then we move to gate 51 around 7 a.m., Sunday the 11th. So this is Sunday coming up. And it's also the new moon, which I'll do a little caveat for that. But it creates a channel with gate 25. So this is a channel of initiation. So we're still in our heart center. It's an individual along with a centering circuit. So we're going to be more arousing. Maybe there's going to be some shock. Individual initiative kind of acts in relation to disruption and rearrangement, possibly some drastic changes. So I have gate 25, not in my moon, but this will be a curious activation for me in my unconscious self. So I'm sure I'm kind of going to see how the weekend plays out. I'm kind of excited. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be exciting. So it's the thunder that creates the shock waves that rattles the heaven's energy. So it actually is going to shake us awake. So yeah, this weekend's going to be kind of curious. So it awakens us to appreciate that there are sometimes forgotten forces at play, different energies in those forces. It could be of human, of nature, of plant, of soul, of spirit. We have this leveling effect that it's actually really fun to dive into, but along with alternative possibilities in our life that can also be tried and, or tested. So it's a bolt of lightning kind of out of the blue. It makes it possible in any movement to kind of transcend our ego separation and jump into a personally kind of more of a truthful, authentic reality. So we're going from being agitated to initiative to an awakening within this gate. So line 1, it's arousing. So we're just growing through the disruptions of all kinds. Line 2 is surviving, just recognizing the temporary upsets are just that, they're temporary. So line 3 is being composed, just learning to honor the laws of nature. So I feel like a storm might be coming or brewing on this day. Line 4, we become unstructured beyond habitual kind of reactions. So we're literally going to be going outside of the box. So again, I think Sunday's going to be a magical day. Line 5, in this hexagram, it's being reliable, accepting all the changes that repeated shocks bring. So those feel like scalar waves kind of bumping into us in our auric field, and just kind of acknowledging that our inner guidance is actually creating these disruptions or the adversity to get us on our path. Then we move into line 6, and this is where the phoenix rises from the ashes. It's Pluto energy, it's regenerating, it's just knowing and identifying that greater disruptions or disasters often in life or in death circumstances, right? We rise from those ashes. Then later in the day, around 5 p.m. on Sunday, so yeah, you might want to take notes. Be sure to get your chart. I put the link in my show notes, but 5 p.m. Sunday, we enter gate 42. It's part of the channel 53. This is exciting because it's the channel of cycles. It's our sacral center. It's the circuit of collective sensing. So there's an increase and also benefiting within this. So just steadily growing our inner and our outer resources. It expands all of our experiences for not just ourselves, but also for others in our story, our environment. So finding our own inner wholesomeness. It's honoring our own personal growth and our own experiences. And it ends in celebration, which is super exciting. So line 1 in this hexagram is knowing that greater deeds are possible in our accomplishments or whatever we want to accomplish. Line 2 is our inner attunement with what is actually more beneficial. It brings a blessing. So this feels Jupiter-ish to me. Even though I'm talking about human design, all the planets still come into action and play. Line 3, we create this greater wisdom by learning through our ordeals. Creates, we become more competent in our creation. Like, what does that look like? Line 4, it's we're going to be more sensible in counseling others where it serves all of us, just being more trustworthy, which kind of feels off, right? Trust is a big thing. Line 5 is kind-heartedness. That feels like the energy of the element of nature and wood, the spring, kindness, right? We need more kindness. When we're unselfish and we're clear in all of our aspirations, that's when fulfillment comes to us. It brings in the fulfillment. Line 6, it's a balance between good. It's a good mixture of like giving and taking and maintaining the balance, the structure of, the give and the take. So then Monday, we move to gate 3, which is a great day for this actually. We're still in the sacral, the channel of mutation, with gate 60, which is the crown center. It's Aries and it's also Taurus. So ego meets manifestation or vice versa. It's beginnings, it's implementing the new, breaking out the old. So it's like we're coming out of the dark ages, we're clearing up our perspectives, we have perseverance, along with organizing our principles. So tradition doesn't easily give way to the new, the unknown, and the untried. So we go from chaos to innocence through innovation. So we start with line 1, and we're embracing the entire picture and being organized. So yeah, it feels when I say that out loud, it's like the Akashic records, and we're looking through our book of life, and we're seeing our whole soul story, and we're organizing how we want this to play out. And then in the hexagram, we move to line 2, where we become more mature through being due diligent, I guess, and how we apply this, and just trusting, inner trust and having faith, I guess, is another thing I would say. Line 3 is we scrutinize ourselves, finding out what is working and what isn't. That feels a little Virgo-ish to me. Line 4 is we're realigning with our real sense of purpose. That's what our prime directive is. We're associating. It's Neptune. Where line 3 is more Plutonian energy. It's the death and the rebirth. This one, line 4, is Neptune. Line 5 is we're detaching from the results that we're anticipating. We're implementing new order in the interpretation. So this feels more Aquarian to me in a way. And, we often misinterpret things. A lot of people do. It's perspective. We all have a different perspective, and there's nothing wrong with that. Line 6, we become renewed, or we're renewing in nature. So just all of our new endeavors. So remember to keep in alignment with your vision, clear seeking, right? So then we move to gate 27, which is actually nourishing and nurturing. Those are caring qualities, the needs of our health, our well-being in all aspects of life. It's the channel of preservation, sounds like preservative, with gate 50. So it creates the circuit of tribal defense. So, tribal energy is like culture. It's getting to the root. It feels root-centeredness, actually, but it's the sign of Taurus, which is curious because Taurus is manifesting. It's how we manifest and where we manifest. So nourishment comes in, a variety of forms to meet physical, mental, emotional, and all of our spiritual needs. So it's just honoring the old adage, physician, heal thyself. It's kind of a precursor to assisting anybody else, especially, when you're doing healing in the other world. So it's a balancing act between caregiving and caretaking. You first have to take care of number 1, nurture your inner self. And then taking care of yourself and your needs is actually just a natural aspect of being accountable for your own beingness. Line 3, it's being resourceful. We have Pluto here. Just recognize who and what is nourishing in any situation. So Pluto gets rid of what needs to be reborn. It literally does that. That's why we're in this cosmic chaos right now, as Pluto is restructuring all of these institutions. And honestly, I quite like what's happening. It's just interesting watching, right? I should say that maybe not with my out loud voice, but it is kind of cool. Line 4 in this particular grid, it's supporting through giving and receiving. Hello, we need some balance there, right? Yeah, so a gift is only truly a gift if it's given without feeling like you have to give back. I don't know if that's the word I want to use, but you don't owe something on the return, the deficit. Don't know why I said that. Maybe somebody needed to hear it though, right? Line 5 in this gate. This is great. We're dispersing resources for the benefit of all in the greatest altruisticness, right? So then in line 6, it provides a guardianship. That feels like I have my, I call it it's my guardian in the other world. But within the guardianship, just know successful steps create outcomes that flourish as long as you honor yourself in the journey. So be authentic to you. So now we're going to go to gate 24. It's the channel of the thinker. It's the center of the mind. It's individual knowing. Now, again, remember, I am following the moon through these gates. So returning and rationalizing, it's the mind. So what goes around in the mind comes around in the mind. So until cycles literally become spirals and innovation and transformation, that's when that happens. So by cycling through different refined solutions, you come to know your limitations within that rational thought or that thinking. And so just know that truth is actually experienced in the silence, in the calm of the storm, right? Even in the storm, you can tune into the silence. So in this gate, we go from addiction or being frozen. This feels adrenal gland to me. Fight, flight, or freeze-ish kind of. But we go from addiction to frozen to silence, our inner cognizance, right? So line 1 is just reviewing constantly what is meaningful to our person or our personality, our inner warrior self, to attract maybe a more loving environment, even when we're under duress. It's like the calmness in the storm. Like we have this galactic storm, a tsunami, whatever, and you're in the storm, but yet you are silent and you trust. So it feels stressful, and yet when you find your inner peace, it dissolves. Line 2, it's renewing. And I would say actually self-love to that. Line 3 is just trying to think your way through life, being indecisive. So we move up this hexagram ladder. Line 4 is the cultivation of our inner mental clarity while we're around others, just being attentive. We cultivate this. Line 5, we do a returning. And so just recognizing that actually when you return, this is where the resolution to kind of renounce those false trails and resume invention. So we start being creative. Line 6 is dropping old competition in the face of life, new offerings, and feel relenting. So it's like letting go. Now for gate 2, as we finish up till next Tuesday, the 13th, it's the channel of the alchemist with gate 14. That's my conscious moon. So it should also be an interesting day for me. It's receptivity, it's guidance, a natural connection that exists between the unseen and our own inner guidance. So it's just being receptive. What does that look like? It's finding a way through life that is in accordance with, and it's also guided by our higher self. So tuning into, for me, it's my cosmic Sira. Being receptive, it creates a distinct difference between, there's a difference between knowledge and there's a difference between knowing. So knowing and knowledge, even saying that out loud feels different. So we go from lost to the oneness. So we have line 1, which is our crystal vision. And I feel like I have, shared my crystal vision. Stevie Nicks, I love that song. So just being we come to guidance in all walks of life, both in the seen and the unseen. We're just prone to that guidance, whether we tune into it or not. Line 2 is being gifted. It's this way where we can access organically or naturally access into a higher intelligence that usually, and more than often, it defies the logical explanation. It's otherworldly without science in a way. Line 3 is the acknowledgement that life is always giving us lessons, just having knowingness and being patient. It's Job, the patience of Job. Line 4, it's knowing too much or knowing a lot, right? But revealing only what's essential. So that would be keeping my visions to myself or kind of concealing my visions because it might be too much for somebody to hear or explore. Line 5 is writing time, like the time waves, until there's an action of benefit, having a strategy. Line 6 is being preoccupied. It's tunnel vision. So this limits our capacity to actually expand in all of our light and all of our juiciness in a fuller expression. So with all of that, that was a bit, right? So those are the gates that the moon is going to transit until next Wednesday. So I think this is going to be really fun to explore. Just a fun little snippet, actually. Kind of long, but not too long. So just remember, it's the lunar mirror moon that I am following. I said mirror because reflectors are a mirror, right? We mirror. So I'm kind of excited about that. So yeah, thanks for popping on. Please comment and share. Get your human design chart. We're going to kind of explore this together. It should be a lot of fun because that's what I want to do. Create some fun, instigate fun. So InSHalla and Ashe. I will see you on the other side. Blessings to you.